Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers Newark Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
Whether you're seated or standing, just really lengthen that spine, feel that space in between each vertebrae, roll the shoulders back, and we're going to go ahead and just tuck for 10. 9, small movement. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now we're going to do our head turns from side to side, always coming back to center in between our repetitions. We're going to do 5 each direction. Ready? Here we go. We're going to turn in one direction, center, and then the other direction, center. Again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Now we're going to do some cat-cow. So you can be seated or standing. You're going to place your hands on your thighs there, okay? And you're going to go ahead and you're going to round and tuck your chin around your back. Feel that stretch through your back, and then you're going to exhale and you're going to untuck and lift that head up. That's 1. And again. Going for 5. Exhale up 2. And again, tuck the chin around the back and then untuck and look up. 3. 4. Feel that movement in the spine. And 5. Good. Our last one we're going to do is hip circles, seated or standing. All right, you're going to go a little bit wider with the feet here, maybe about right outside your shoulders. Okay, if you're seated, you're just rotating here from your seat, 5 in one direction and then 5 in the other. And if you're standing, you're kind of pushing the hips back and forward. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now let's switch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same thing with our ankles, seated or standing. You can hold on to the side of something, or you can just sit yourself down. We're just going to rotate our ankles for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch directions. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Same thing, other foot. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now we kind of just loosened up some of those joints. Okay. It's morning time. We want to kind of wake up the joints here a little bit. Now we're going to go into our warm-up, okay? So we're still going to go through our range of motion, and we're also looking to elevate our internal body temperature here, okay? So we're going to do 1 round. This is, actually, I didn't change it from last week. I kept it the same. So we're going for 50 seconds of work, 10 seconds of transition time. Remember, that is just a guide, okay? We do it for time so that you can go at your own pace and do, quality repetitions, at your own pace, okay? But if you need to stop early before that 50 seconds is up, that's okay. Okay, you need to just, listen to what your body's always talking to you, so just listen to it, okay? We're going to start with marching in place for 50 seconds, okay? Opposite hand and foot come up simultaneously, all right? We want to get that pattern, okay? seated or standing. I'm going to do the first 25 seconds seated, second 25 standing. Ready? And begin. Here we go. So when we get to 25 seconds in, you'll just see me transfer to standing, just so I can demonstrate both. You're moving at your own pace. Good. We're just about halfway. All right, we're halfway through. You can see me switch. You can maintain whichever one you're in, or you can switch with me. The next exercise we're going to do is that total body extension, where we hinge forward through the hips, and then we come up with our hands. Our hands are arms. They're like momentum, like a swing set, okay? 2 and 1. All right, so this is total body extension right here. If you're advanced, you may come up onto your toes, okay? All right, I'm going to do the first 25 seated, okay? I'm on the edge of my seat. All right, my hips close like a compact case, right? Or a clam, right? And then my arms are just along for the ride. They just kind of, you can feel that momentum, okay? Go at a pace. If this makes you dizzy, do not go as fast as I am, okay? It's okay to go this pace right here. I just sometimes get used to what I'm used to, right? Okay? Take a little pause, all right? Okay, we've got 20 seconds left here. We'll switch to standing. Almost done this one. 5 more seconds. 2 and 1. Okay, next one is our lateral two-step. Step, step, jab. Step, step, jab, okay? You're seated. We're tap, tap, jab. Tap, tap, jab. Tap, tap, jab. Or step, right? Depending on what you're doing. I'm going to switch halfway. And halfway. Step, step. Almost done. Then we have one more warm-up move. And time. Good. Okay, our last warm-up move is our hook, hook, jab, jab. So you see that rotation we get in our body here? Okay, same seat here. I'm at the edge of my seat. Hook, hook, jab, jab. Kind of feel that twist through your rib cage and your spine here. All right, halfway. Moving at your own pace. Five more seconds, and then our warm-up is complete. All right, there it is. Okay, so our first circuit is still, as we're learning this new pattern, we're going to keep up with this new pattern here. It is 40 seconds of work and 10 seconds of recovery. Oh no, I'm sorry, 45 seconds of work and 15 seconds transition. And just finding my timer here, there it is. And it's the same pattern that we did last week. Okay, so 2 of the moves I purposely I'm putting in the warm-up because it gives you a little trial before we go ahead and do it again here. Okay, so our first one here is our squat, curl, and press. All right, so with or without weights. Okay, you're going to stand it up, curl, press, bring it back, tap, drive up, curl, press, bring it back. Okay, now If you are staying seated, leg extension, curl and press, okay? All right, I'll do that for round one. Our second one is back to our lateral two-step and jab, what we just did in our warm-up. You know, we're seated, we're here. Your option now is, if you would like, you can add your weights to this. If you have light weights, don't go real heavy. You know, you don't want to extend with something that's too heavy for you to jab out. If you have some lighter weights you feel comfortable with, add that weight in. Not necessary, but it's an option, okay? The next one after that is our Rdl row. So seated position, we hinge. Remember, like that compact case, I'm staying nice and long through my spine, shoulders back, hinge, row it up, okay? So we get a back row and we get a hinge movement, okay? Standing, here we go, my feet are hip width, hinge, see how my butt pushes back, you look like you can balance and try on your back, okay? You don't want to do this, okay? You want to stay nice and flat, okay? Row it up, row it up at your own pace, okay? And then the next one is our hook, jab, jab. Again, optional, not necessary, but if you have light weights, you can add weights to that movement. Just be careful you don't, you know, get too close to your face with the weights. That's the one thing that I worry about myself when I'm doing it, is I keep that space from my face. Okay, enough talking. So whether you're using some sort of weight or not, we're going to start with our squat, curl, and press. I'm doing round one seated, okay? Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm doing seated version. Or if you're just going straight to the standing, you're doing your sit squat. I'm keeping my foot flexed when I do the seated variation, because that helps me get into the top of my thigh more, that muscle there, the quadricep. Remember, you can always choose to stop a little bit early, we have 5 seconds left, or start a little late. This time is just a guide, okay? All right, next one is our lateral two-step and jab. Okay, so with or without weight, if you want to try to intensify it some, you know, adding that weight, there's water bottles, there's, you know, the soup cans of fruit, dumbbells, that'll intensify it some. So I'm doing the seated version, just like in our warm-up. Lateral two-step and jab. Just trying to, these are some new patterns we introduced not quite a month ago, and I just want to make sure we get them down before we move on, right? And you may find, say you want to start with the weights and you get halfway through and you say, you know what, that's enough with the weights, put them down and finish without the weights, okay? There's no, you know, hard rules on how you need to do this. You know, like I say, the most important part is showing up, okay? You got to show up and be consistent about it. Our hinge to row is next. If you're seated, you're on the edge of your seat, so you have room to move forward. Feet are hip width apart, seated or standing. We're going to fold through our hips, row it, and then squeeze the glutes to bring yourself back up. These two moves together get the whole back side of the body. The hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, and also the lats, the back muscles that are kind of wrapped around the back of our rib cage. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Our next one is hook, jab, jab. Just like in our warm-up, okay? So you have a little bit of memory of what that was like. And optional weights here, just be careful, okay? Here we go. You're gonna feel a slight rotation through your torso. when you're doing those hooks. A lot of core work here, a lot of arm work, and a lot of cardio. Remember your pace. Oops. We have 10 more seconds here. 2 and 1. Okay, that was round 1. We are going back to the top. Okay, so I am starting with the standing variation now. We're at that squat, curl, and press. Seated variation is the leg extension. Okay. All right, here we go. Ready? Begin. I'm going to drive through the heels, squeeze my glutes at the top, curl and press, tap, drive through the heels, squeezing the glutes. Just be mindful of your movement, right? It's not about doing it super fast. It's about giving each body part the attention it deserves through the movement, okay? Being mindful of how your body feels. And the quality of your work is much more important than how many reps you get in here right now. Okay, we want to make sure that we're time. All right, next we're going into our lateral two-step and jab. We want to make sure that we're activating the muscles that we intend to, okay? Lateral two-step and jab or lateral two-tap and jab. Here we go. Optional weights. Definitely gets the heart rate up more with the extra weight. It's an in-service day for my kids today, so they just got home from breakfast. You might hear them talking upstairs. Definitely feeling my arms at this point. Remember, you can always let go of the weights if you have them and the full 45 seconds is just too much. Don't overstrain yourself, okay? Just, drop the weights and then keep going at the time. All right, next is our Rdl Row or Hinge and Row, okay? So you're seated, you're towards the edge of your chair, your hip width apart, so you can hinge forward. All right, here we go. Begin. Pushing the hips back, my spine stays nice and flat. And I use my glutes to stand myself back up. You should feel this in your hamstrings, the back of your thighs, your glutes, and also your back muscles. Maybe your arms too. Your biceps are secondary in this movement, but your back is actually your first, is the prime muscle you're using here. And time, okay. Hook, hook, jab, and jab. So we're getting some slight rotation through the torso here, okay? So core work, cardio, and arm work. Seated or standing, optional weights, here we go. And at your pace, remember quality over quantity. Maybe you find you can go for 15 seconds or what you think is 15 seconds. And then you pause for 10, right? And just recover and then go back at it again, okay? It's your 45 seconds to work with it, okay? So don't think of it as I have no choice, but I have to work that whole 45 seconds. Just listen to your body and what it's telling you. Time, okay. We have one more round of that to go through, okay? So squat, curl, and press for the final time, or your alternating leg raise to curl and press. Ready? I'm gonna start seated. And begin. I'm gonna drive through the heel, squeeze my glutes, then curl it, then press it. Bring it back. So here we go. I'm getting legs and glutes, bicep, shoulders. Okay, 3 major areas we're working here. Five more seconds here. And time. Okay, next we have our last round of lateral two-step and jab, or your lateral two-tap and jab. Okay, optional weights. Let's get ready and begin. Step together, jab. Step together, jab. Remember your pace though. If my pace is too quick, or maybe not quick enough, you do you, okay? Think of keeping that core nice and strong. Very beneficial for the body for us to move in these lateral movements to help strengthen our stabilizing muscles in the glute medius, which help us keep balance, right? So I like to do a lot of lateral movement so we can keep good balance. Feeling my arms. And time, okay? Rdl row, that hinge in a row, seated or standing. Okay, we're folding, we're closing at the hips, we're pushing our hips or glutes back, and we're keeping a nice neutral spine so the shoulders stay back. Here we go. Row it, and then use the glutes and hamstrings to lift you up straight again. Okay, you have the lower body lifting your head back up, okay? My knees are not locked out. There's just a very slight bend in there. And remember, we're giving attention to each muscle group. We don't want to not think of each body part we're doing. So right here, it's the lower body. Now we're doing the back. And then we're finishing the lower body, okay? At your pace, 3, 2, and 1. Good, okay, last one, then we rest, okay? We have hook, hook, jab, jab, okay? Optional weights. 3, 2, and 1. Jab, jab, so. You give an exhale while you're throwing your punches. You're helping to work your transverse abdominals, your deepest core muscles, and breathing is really an important part of training those deep core muscles. Think of exhaling out through your belly. Well, through your mouth, but it starts by pushing, squeezing your belly in. And time, okay, woo. All right, guys, let's rest and recover here. And remember, you can, no matter what the timer's doing, remember, this is just our guide. This just gives us a format, a template, and you work and do as it suits you best. You can always, most certainly, get a drink whenever you need to, and I think you guys all know that, but then we definitely, in between, have these recover periods where we can get a nice drink and stay hydrated, okay? Remember, your water, your hydration, is going to help you feel better. Sometimes if you're, not all of us like water, or we don't even realize we're not drinking enough water, and that can actually make you feel tired, your joints ache, headache, it can make you feel a lot of different things. So especially as it gets warmer, pay attention to your, your hydration level. All right. It'll help you recover from your workouts too. Okay, next one is going to be 45-15. We are going to do something a little different with our lunges today. We're going to be alternating them, okay? So your option, if you are seated, is going to be, and I'm going to do this for round 1, is just our alternating leg press, okay? Where I'm just slightly seated back. I'm holding on to the side of my chair and I'm pressing through the heel of my foot. You'll feel your legs work, and you'll also feel your core work. If you are standing, here's what I am proposing, okay? You're going to hold on to the back of the chair, okay? You're going to make sure that your feet stay about hip width apart through this movement. You don't want one foot to be behind the other. You want to maintain that hip width apart, whether they're forward and back or not, or side to side, okay? So we're going to step back, and then the other side, okay? So we started out, when we started our programming, we started with just stationary lunges, right? This is how we started, and these are probably the hardest because you got the most time on your tension. And then we moved to same leg, step back, right? Now we're going to increase the coordination factor and also the cardio factor here a little bit. And we're going to alternate legs, okay? Alternate legs, okay? So let's give that a try at your own pace. If 45 seconds is too long, you stop early and give yourself more recovery time, okay? After that, we're going to do a kickback and row, body weight movement. Seated, and I'll move my chair back to where it belongs into, but seated, you're at the edge of your seat so that you can toe tap back. Okay, so you have room to toe tap back. And it's like those rowboat row arms, like you're rowing with oars, okay? And then our final exercise is modified jumping jacks, okay? Seated or standing. This is gonna be a little cardio intense today. So I want you to listen to your body, okay? And stop early if you need to. That time is a guide, okay? So we are starting with our alternating lunges or our alternating seated leg presses. I actually think today I'm going to start with the standing variation and I'll finish with the seated because this is new and I'd rather you guys just see me do this one first. Most of you who have been with me have seen the seated leg press and know how to do that one, okay? So here we go. We're going to get ready for our alternating lunges, okay? Or if you're seated, you're alternating seated leg press. Ready? And begin, okay? A little bit more coordination because we have to shift that weight from side to side. You go through your range of motion, okay? I've got a wide range of motion, but I've been doing lunges for 2 decades now, so I'm used to doing them, okay? So you do not have to go as deep as I do. Use the chair for support. You do not have to go as fast as I am going, maybe. What I want you to think of is that front leg, because you're really working the front leg the most, right? And that weight is in the heel. Fine. Okay. Now we're going to go to our kickback and rowboat row. Okay, so seated or standing, you're on the edge of your chair if you're seated, so those toes have room to tap back. Like a rowboat, think of your arms like a rowboat row. This is getting more of our middle back versus our other kind of row that we did in the block beforehand. And this really helps with posture, standing up straight. If you need to recover for a little bit within your 45 seconds, you can always like take the arms out for a few seconds, right? Say it's like you feel some pressure in your neck or something, you know, you can, there's different ways you can make this work for you, okay? Take the arms out for a few, just take a complete break for a few. Okay, and modified jumping jacks, okay? And remember, you can always intensify this one by adding some regular ones mixed through it, okay? Here we go. Begin. Otherwise, you're right here. We got 2 more rounds just like this, okay? A little more cardio in this block. We're really working the legs with all three exercises, right? And the arms with the two, right? I feel my shoulders working here. Time check and time. Okay, that's round one. Moving on to round two. So we're going back to those alternating lunges. Okay. Holding on your chair, you're doing your alternating seated leg press for the chair option, which is, you know, I love that one too. Step back, drive through that front heel and return. I'll do the same thing on the other side. What you really want to make sure is that that front foot, that the heel has contact to the ground. If the heel is popping up off the floor, you kind of have to readjust your position so that it makes contact with the floor, because that's driving through your heels what's going to give your glute the activation that it needs. More of a coordination factor with this style of lunge. And time, okay. What's that one called? A kickback, alternating kickback, and rowboat row. Okay, it's next. Seated or standing. If you're seated, you're closer to the edge of your chair, with your toe tapping back. This kind of works your middle and lower traps in your back, which helps you stand up straighter. Those muscles tend to get weak because we are rounded over a little bit more with the daily activities we do, sitting and working and whatnot. And they kind of get overstretched. So exercises like this, activate them, okay? Get them moving again, get that blood flow back to those muscles so that they can strengthen and hold us up, right? Okay, modified jumping jacks. You might notice your heart rate's up here a little bit, okay? Judge that, make sure you feel okay, and as long as you're feeling good, you know, keep on going. If you need a little extra recovery time, take an extra 10 seconds, it's okay, all right? Again, showing up in consistency, making that your habit, you know, that's the important part, because it's you need to make it your lifestyle for it to really have impact, okay? So it's not about how many reps can I do, and then like I do that for a month and then I burn out and I'm done. You know, like that doesn't last, you know? We want lasting habits. You don't want your workout to feel so overwhelming that you don't want to show up, right? You want it to feel good. Hard, challenging, but you know, not daunting, right? Okay, one more round through. I'm gonna do the reverse like that I usually do. I'm gonna do my seated version now, okay? So I'm doing, instead of the alternating leg lunge, I'm doing the alternating leg press. Feel free to join me or stay with your alternating lunge if you like. They're both really, I love this. You guys know, if you're with me every week, I say it every single week. I really do love this. I feel my core engaged because I'm slightly leaned back so that I can pick that leg up and push that imaginary boulder away, right? 15 more seconds. 10. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, excellent. All done with those. Next, we have our kickback and row. So I am at the edge of my chair. My knees are a little bit further than 90 degrees, so I can row and toe tap back. Otherwise, you're doing the standing variation we did the last 2 rounds. Remember, if your arms tire out, feel that in your back. your middle back on either side of your spine. If it feels like tuckered out, it's tired, shake it out for a few. Maybe do this for a little bit. And then come back, okay? We've got 10 more seconds, then we're moving on to modified jumping jacks. 2 and 1, okay. Last one in the circuit, then we rest and we move on to our final circuit. We're gonna do modified jumping jacks. In 3, 2, and 1, here we go. We're gonna recover after this. So I can talk about our final block. Excellent. Feeling my arms. Again, if you need to rest your arms a little bit, it's okay. You know, a little bit of exercise discomfort's okay, but any kind of sharp or acute pain, you know, you really gotta stop then, okay? And time, okay? Stop and modify or just not use that particular body part, okay? All right, we're gonna recover here. Get a drink, all right? Final block. We did these moves last week, and we're going to do them again. We have our Sumo Sit Squat. So remember, a sumo is like the sumo wrestlers. That's where, you know, sumo or plie, ballerina plie, okay, is where you're wider than your shoulders. The heel of my foot is wider than my shoulders. My toes are facing out to the sides of the room, okay? That's gonna help prevent your knees from caving inwards, which strengthens the outside of our glutes to get balance, okay? From here, if you're doing the regular version, you're going to stand it up and squat it down. You can hold weights here if you'd like, or you could do it body weight, okay? I like the chair because I think it gets us a little bit lower than maybe if we weren't using the chair, but you can certainly do it without the chair. We've done it that way before too. Now, if you're doing just seated, here's 2 options. Maybe you're strong enough that you can lift yourself off and hold. Sometimes it's probably easier if you have one of those chairs that has like sides, like on it, arm rests. Okay, you can lift up just a little bit, hover and back down. Or what we usually do is lateral tap, leg extension, lateral tap, leg extension, which is what I'm going to demo, okay? And then after that, we're going back to our hinge movement, but we're adding a bicep curl. We did these last week for the first time. So back to our hinge, and then we're going to complete the hinge, and then we're going to go to bicep curl, okay? Hinge, up, bicep curl, okay? I like these. I always feel my core work really hard with these for some reason with the bicep curl, okay? After that, our single arm row. We've been doing these now too. Single arm row to kick back. Okay, so we're getting our back muscles and our triceps, all right? So those 3 exercises for 3 rounds. So starting with our sumo squat, okay? I'm gonna do the seated variation first, with or without weights. Here we go, in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm doing lateral tap, leg extension. This is our seated option. I like to keep my foot flexed when I extend the leg long because that helps me get into my quadricep, the top part of my thigh. And these lateral taps get into the side of our glute. Again, those lateral movements again, right? Those stabilizing muscles that help with our balance. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now we're going to go into our hinge to our bicep curl. we'll do the seated variation just to show the demo. Here's our standing. We're gonna bring it up and then bicep curl, okay? All right, here we go. 3, 2, begin. Hinge, bring it up, curl. Trying to keep that back nice and neutral, okay? Length through the spine. Shoulders are rolled back, all right? You want to try to minimize any rounding through your back. Think of being able to place a tray on your back when you're in that bent over position, which means you have to push the hips back towards the wall behind you, all right? And you need to keep the shoulders rolled back. All right, next one. Pick a side. We've got our single arm row to tricep kickback. If you're standing, you can hold on to the back of your chair, okay? Here we go. And 3, 2, and 1. I'm gonna row it like a lawnmower pull, right? Like you're pulling the start pulley on a lawnmower. And then you go right into your tricep kickback. More seconds here. 2, and 1. Okay. What we do on one side, we need to do on the other. Okay, so get ready for the other side here. And in 3, 2, 1, lawnmower row, and kick back. Right, so kind of like a diagonal pull, keeping the elbow closer to the body. It doesn't flare out to the side. Back, and then tricep, all right? 2 major muscle groups we're using here. And after this, we go back to the top with our sumo squat, or alternating. We've got the lateral tap, the leg extension that we alternate for the seated option. 2, and 1. Okay, so here we go. All right, if you're doing the standing variation of the sumo squat, you can, with or without weights, those heels are right outside your shoulders, the toes are facing out, okay? I'm just gonna hold my weights in front of me right here. You can hold them here or not use them. I'm gonna drive up through my heels, squeeze my glutes, and then tap it down. So you feel a little bit of inner thigh working here, kind of like this side of your glute too. Like it's a little bit of a different angle on the glute than with our regular sit squat. It's kind of more like wrapped around the side a little bit. So we're training our glutes. There's 3 muscles within the glutes. And we're making sure we train all of them. The glute medius, the glute maximus, and the glute minimus. So with all the different leg exercises we do, we ensure we hit all of them. All right, time on those. Rdl to bicep curl, seated or standing. It's that hinge pattern. I'm sorry, there's multiple ways to say this movement, and I know I say a lot of them. So feet are hip width apart. We're gonna hinge. I think hinge is the best. Finish our hinge, bicep curl. Again, hinge, squeeze the glutes to lift them up. Keep the core tight, curl. Hinge, squeeze up, core tight, body curl. Good. Less than 10 seconds here, and then we're going to go to our single arm row to kick back. 2 and 1. Okay, single arm row and kick back. I am going to move here. All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that's 1 more pull and kick back. It's nice and fluid. They pair well together. You go right from that row to your kickback. Really thinking of extending that arm long, engaging the tricep at the top. Ten more seconds here. Last 5, 2, and 1. Okay, even out, get the other side, and then we have 1 more round to go through, and then we're done. So let's go ahead. If you're standing here, getting into that split stance with the legs, kind of leaning forward, putting your weight on the one hand here slightly, and we're gonna 1 more pull, kick back. Keeping my core engaged. Getting that blood flow to all of our muscles, working every muscle in our body. Five more seconds here, and then back to the top for our final round. 2, and time. Okay, guys, final round here. All right, you're going to go back to our sumo squats or our alternating lateral tap the leg extension. And 2, and 1. Optional weight. So I'm still, if you're doing it this way, I'm still focused on driving my heels into the floor, okay, to stand up, pushing my heels down into the floor, because that is the trick to activating your glutes, to getting deeper into your glutes. It's our final set of these. We have 10 more seconds. Last 5, 2, and 1. Okay. Next, we have our hinge to bicep curl. All right. In 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to go ahead and push those hips back, bring it back up, bicep curl. Okay. Hinge, squeeze it up, bicep curl. Should really start to feel your hamstrings work here. Nice stretch at the bottom, squeezing and loose to pull yourself up. And you can see how this exercise is different from like our squat, our sit squat, and our sumo squat. Here we've got a lot more like bowing, you know what I mean? Like the front of the body comes forward a lot more because we're pushing those hips back so far. Okay, last set of exercises are our single arm row to kick back, okay? We're done after this. 3, 2, begin. A diagonal row, starting a lawnmower. Staying nice and present. We've got 10 more seconds on this side. 2, and 1. Okay, shake it out. What are we doing on one side. We gotta even out and get done on the other. All right, so seated or standing. In 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Row, kick back. Good, 15 more seconds. Two, and time. Okay, guys. That is a wrap. So we'll just briefly stretch out here. Okay, stretch the muscles we've just worked out. And whether you're seated or standing, let's do our neck and trap first. Because you know, I just like to gently kind of pull on one side of my head and press down with that other hand. You feel a nice stretch to the side of your neck here. And think of those cleansing breaths. Okay, think of deep inhales through the nose and then longer exhales through the mouth. Okay. Getting out any kind of lactic acid buildup in the blood, okay, getting fresh oxygen to the blood. Okay, same thing, other side, gently pressing and pulling, and nice deep breaths. Good. From here, let's go ahead and whether you're seated or standing, be on the closer to the back of your chair. Palms on the small of your back here. Okay, pulling the elbows like you want them to touch one another so that your heart lifts to ceiling. Okay, and feel a nice stretch through the front of your body here, your chest and the front of your shoulders, and also through your forearms. Put your head wherever it's comfortable. That could be up. That could be straight forward. Okay, your choice. Just inhale and exhale. Good, let's go ahead and come across the shoulder. Really visualize this when you can think about that shoulder blade. Think about the muscles that are kind of connecting from the underside of your shoulder blade to your spine there, okay? Just even if you don't know what they look like, just pretend you do, right? Just think of those muscle fibers lengthening. That's what I do. It helps when you are connected, when you're really, truly connected and thinking about what your body's doing, you can, that your mind helps you get into it deeper. Go ahead, same thing, other side. Okay, and then from here, let's go ahead and do a lateral bend. So seated or standing, just leaning to one side. You're just trying to really feel a nice stretch all through the side of the body. You can, if you want, you can hold on to the wrist and gently tug and pull it up towards where the wall and the ceiling meet in that corner there. But you don't have to pull that up if it feels too uncomfortable. And breathe. Same thing, other side. All right, just 2 more for the legs after this, okay? So if you're standing in some elevation, maybe you can go ahead and prop your leg up onto a elevated surface here to get into your hamstring. And if that is too intense, you can always come to your chair seated here, all right? And then just lean forward, all right? Trying to reach your toes, okay? Even if you don't reach them, don't force yourself. I'm gonna stick with the standing one here for myself. Just feel that stretch through the back of the leg here. All right, same thing other side. Okay, and our final stretch, I'm gonna do the seated variation today where we go into that groin and hip flexor area. So I'm towards the edge of my seat. I'm gonna extend that one leg long. Okay, the other leg is bent for support. And I'm just leaning. Find everybody's body is unique. So find where you wanna be able to feel like a stretch through the groin and inner thigh, hip flexor area. We're often tight from here, so breathe through once you find a good spot. Good, and then release that side, and let's just even out. Do the same thing on the other side. Find the stretch, do the inner thigh and groin, and breathing. All right, coming out of that, let's just do 2 inhales up, bringing our palms to heart, or yeah, our to prayer pose to heart. So here we go, we're gonna inhale up, palms together, exhale down to heart, and one more. Inhale up, palms together, exhale to heart. All right.
Hi everyone, this is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.